We interrupt this program to bring you the Wade and Carter Show.
Rod Rosenstein dropped some bombs in Senate testimony. Hydroxychloroquine. Maybe not such a bad drug after all.
Right.
The latest on Tropical Storm Cristobal and BLM,
Mr.
among
Apocalypse.
others, pushing to defund police departments around the country. All that and more coming up in today's Wade and Carter Show.
I love interrupting that little deal. Foggy.
A little bit. Hey, how are you today?
Good. It's Friday.
It is, finally. Let's do this.
It's a foggy Friday morning, 73 degrees in Victoria, Texas, and it's just going to burn off all day and head to a high of 93. Clear skies tonight.
That's it today?
Yeah, 73 to 93. And look, the next 7-day forecast, all sunny. Next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, highs predicted above 100.
I don't know that we want that yet.
The Victoria Glacier in trouble. There'll be
melting.
no outdoor curling this summer.
Nope, not this summer.
It's not like sunny Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where the high is, what's the high today in Calgary? I'm going to take a guess. I bet you the high today in Canada in your area is 53 degrees Fahrenheit. I got it up to 53 today. Remember, it was snowing 2 weeks ago, folks.
Yeah.
53 degrees, though, is this heat wave, summer heat wave.
I got a text from J Dub. They were on a walk after.
He and Anita?
Yeah, and John Carlo. It's currently 41.
Going to a high of 53.
Sunny.
What's the high today?
65.
I'm close.
Rain this evening. We'll see what the weekend looks like.
I have to be sure not to slurp.
68 tomorrow and mostly sunny. And then it gets chilly on Sunday. 52 for the high, 43 for the low.
Wow.
So we're in winter territory in Texas, in Calgary this on Sunday, Monday. Monday, I think it said in the 40s for the high.
J-Dub and Anita get in a wagon and John Carlo pulls him around.
That's with a parachute on the back.
That kid lately? He's thick.
With a parachute on the back of that wagon.
He must be like eating his weed.
He needs all that resistance. David Rice, first in, wins you nothing, but we appreciate the effort, sir.
T-Lat says that I slurp sometimes when I drink. Didn't your mother teach you better? I'm like, that's how I know, we all do that.
You should come to Calgary when the Feast of Kisla Zupa is on, which is a Czechoslovakian sour soup. If you slurp when you drink.
Is it a slurpy soup?
Oh, it's a slurpy soup, long, thick noodles. If you can't eat it quietly.
Kisla
Zupa.
Zupa
is just soup with an A.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean anything. It's not even the word.
No. It's Czech?
Slovak. Well, Kisla's sour in Slovak. Soup is nothing. It's just a bastardized English word to make it sound somewhat Slovak.
So it's slang. It's like Tex-Mex
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when the relatives would come over from Czechoslovakia,
from the old country,
it would take a little bit for my grandma and even my great grandma at the time, who had been here since the 1940s or 30s.
Cold War.
Yes. Pre-World War II, after World War I.
She infiltrated, assimilated, and then ferried information back to the motherland.
This was before they took over.
Invaded.
This was before they invaded in 68.
To the motherland.
But it would take a while for them to actually understand, because the Slovak they used to speak had become somewhat anglicized in Canada, right? Yeah, except that was Italian.
Right.
But they would eventually all get on the same page. But my mom had troubles understanding.
Jameson and water.
Because she never spoke it. And they never taught us because at the time they didn't want you. They wanted you to assimilate and learn
Folks,
English.
don't think of Canadians as just Americans who live across the border. These people,
or as people living in the apartment above the meth lab that is the United States.
These people, they eat cheese curds, pierogies,
sour soup.
They think Tim Horton makes donuts. He's a hockey player who's passed.
I will.
I like Tim Hortons though. I would, if you gave me the choice between Tim Hortons and a Starbucks, I'm in Timmy's all day long.
All day long. You give me the choice between a Seattle's Best and a Starbucks, and Seattle's Best all day long.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
I like it, even though they're now owned by Starbucks, so you're paying the same company. I just like the flavor better. Scott Snow's in. Chris Conrad, good morning. Karen Webb, Judge Posey, Scott Tomko,
Scotty,
Bobby Leister, good morning to you. CW Bean is in. Patrick Strauss.
You know, we should be neck deep in baseball season right now.
I know. Marvin Mickers, we should be neck deep in, well, NHL playoffs would likely be over by now. Stanley Cup would have been hoisted. They'd have skated around the rink. And
if there's a short season,
I'd have been celebrating my New York Rangers championship because they were on a roll.
Were they rolling?
They wouldn't have made the playoffs if not for the 24. If not for the proposed 2014 playoff.
But you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. Larry Leahy, good morning.
Happy James Brown. Ow. Friday to you.
Christina Wise, Sky Sanchez.
Good morning to you, James Brown, and my brain goes back to about 1995-ish. Threw a pass to beat Nebraska. Big 12 championship game. James Brown. Number one.
Different James Brown, maybe?
This James Brown won't lay in state for 6 months.
There was a Iceman asking if it's too early for a cold one and some beef jerky. Iceman, it's never too early for a cold one. It might be too early for beef jerky.
Right,
unless you shred it up and put it on your eggs.
That is one thing about the Canucks. They eat things like treat and prim.
Click. Adam Sugar, good morning.
Prim. Short for premium.
Sky Sanchez, we need that rain. I've had 3+ inches at the 2-4 in the last couple of weeks.
Why is Sky Sanchez coming in with some random weather comment?
I have no idea.
She's a fairly sharp individual. Why would she stoop to the level?
What Sahara Desert is she living in that she needs rain?
Right? I've got puddles everywhere. I got mosquitoes with landing lights on the back patio. I thought it was a drone.
I had to finish mowing yesterday, and my mower was going through low water spots.
Yeah.
There were pontoon planes trying to land and fish.
You know what? Maybe that's how they could give this proposed virus vaccine is just put it on a drone and let it land on you, give you a shot and fly up to the next one, give you a shot.
Oh, I thought maybe we just create a pool and the mosquitoes all come in and suck some of it, and then they go
and then give it to us.
Because they're the size of murder hornets.
I did listen this morning. They were talking Dr. Fauci. Remember when he was a good guy, when he was popular? He's the expert. Fauci was a guy that said they're going to build a vaccine, quote unquote, at risk, meaning not at risk to the patient, but at risk to the cooperative effort of all of the big pharma companies who think they can have 30 million doses before the next virus season, which they're just so certain is going to come in the fall.
Is this like a dog food factory? You know, they produce Alpo, regular Alpo, and then they push a switch, and once all those bags are done,
Maker's Mark,
and then the
Maker's Mark,
then Alpo with beef chunks comes whipping through.
Yeah,
and
is
that the same thing? They're going to put all the flu vaccines on the back burner, right? So they can make 30 million COVID vaccines that are going to end up absolutely ineffective and not protect but 20% of the population, maybe.
Wade and Carter prediction: your flu vaccine nominally will just cost a couple of extra bucks this year because they had to divert. It was very difficult to make the flu vaccine because we were focusing on
it doesn't
COVID.
cost you anything because it's still covered by Obamacare.
Oh, that's
picked
right.
up by taxpayers and insurance companies. So basically, we pay for it when our premiums go up.
So the government will get paid more for it. But how about the idea that they're saying they're going to make this vaccine in case it works? They believe they can have 30 million doses, but they can't run all the tests until later.
And that doesn't scare anybody.
No, they'll have it if it works.
You get a bunch of people that won't take the flu vaccine because most times it's only works about 20% of the time, right?
Right. And some people get really sick from taking it. Not to mention there's that whole needle factor. If you could make it in a pill form, I think everybody would take it.
I got to watch that needle go in when they give me the shots.
You enjoy that?
Oh, yeah.
You're really odd.
If I don't see that needle going in with any shot, when they excised my melanoma that was on the arm, I watched them do it.
That arm herpes you
Yeah.
had?
I watched them do it.
Now, did you like to see that? You have no problem?
You know, when they pulled it out, the thought that went through my mind was, oh man, that looks like like the good fat in the middle of a ribeye.
Is that what it looked like?
Yeah.
Was it like this?
Had tentacles.
And then it dropped in and ran across the floor.
That's exactly what it did.
Crazy.
And they had to dive on it so it wouldn't get away and
You know,
infect somebody else.
I've known people. I am not this person. I've known people that just could deal. They could effectively step outside their feelings and disengage from pain. I've known these people.
Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy.
Charles Manson put a swastika on his own forehead.
Yeah.
No, but in theory, you know, your pain, when you see a lot of pro athletes, they'll go ahead and put some Novocaine into a joint that's hurt because they know you can play hurt. You just can't play injured. And if they're only hurt, they want to mask the pain because the pain is just telling you to rest that appendage, right? There are people that you could cut them and lay them open and they can disassociate the pain. They can say, I'm okay with that. I know why it hurts. And my arm is laid open, but it's not really hurting me. I'm not that guy. If I look down and see my blood running, I can let you bleed all day. I can put a tourniquet on you. I can help you any way you want. If I'm bleeding, good night.
Give me a dirty diaper, and if I'm not doing this, I'm throwing up everywhere.
I'm a diaper changing fool, man. That just doesn't bother me at all.
We had a guy in junior high.
On kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a guy in junior high. You know, we were.
It
was an experiment or a demonstration of convection and conduction, right? So he asked for a couple of volunteers.
Junction, what's your function?
Science teacher, Mr. McManus, asked for a couple of volunteers, and two people got up. He was holding a piece of metal.
This is conduction.
And he held it over the Bunsen burner, which they don't have anymore, right?
Sure,
he goes, okay.
It's an open flame in a school.
Okay, when this gets hot, let go. You can just drop it on the floor. It's not going to hurt anything.
You just held it?
No, it wasn't me. It was another kid. But the metal was like red at the bottom, and he's holding on to this thing, and he's like, is that burning yet? No, not really. You feel anything? No, not really. Next day, he's coming in, his hands wrapped up, blistered.
See, now you'd have people out front going, that teacher's got to go.
Yeah.
My son was too stupid to let go.
He's a good volleyball coach, too. Adam Daughtry checking in. Trey Molina, Monica Jost, Joe Gomez, good morning.
You're that guy.
Here's my brother Corky. He might not have been in that class, but that class, but he probably would have seen the same demonstration because that's how we did it back.
Good morning,
in Canada in the day.
Mom and Dad are in. I'm trying to remember where we were the other day that somebody was telling a story, and like they said, like you just said, I was a pretty good volleyball coach too. Then you should go ahead and add, which has no relevance to this story.
None at all. But you wouldn't have thought, a science teacher was a good volleyball coach.
I don't remember where we were. T-Lat would remember, but it was somebody just kept saying, well, they did this and this and this, which, I mean, has no relevance to this story.
Not at all. Sheriff Lauderback checking in. Sherry Lynch, good morning.
Good morning, Sheriff. Well,
Christina Wise, Tim Hortons or Caribou Coffee. I have not had the Caribou Coffee, so I could not tell you what that was like.
Somebody pointed out yesterday, I was on the phone. Oh, a buddy of mine in Elkhart, Indiana, John Wright. John Wright said, you don't want to know who really missed an opportunity during all of this COVID deal. And I said, who's that? He said Lowe's should have opened a bar in Lowe's because everybody went to Lowe's every day.
Home Depot in Canada, I think, has Tim Hortons in them.
Well, it makes perfect sense to come on in and buy a 2x4 and have a shot of rye on your way back out.
Yeah. There's Matt Boucher checking in. CW Bean says he doesn't think Fauci's taking that shot.
Matt Boucher, you need to make a flyby over to my house and check out the strategic placement of my vinca and how it has just flourished under your tutelage. And on the right side, on the far right side of my flower bed, it's like it just kind of dropped off. There was no focal point down there. I've got a dark red crepe myrtle. It's those dark purple leaves.
Yeah.
And it's doing a fine job, but it's not blooming yet. So I went down there.
It's not quite bloom time, is it?
No, but I went, except my vinca it's just all growing. It's fantastic. I went down to the end there, and on either side of those landscaping rocks, I planted 2 nice plumbago. And they're just really coming in now with the blue flowers. And that plumbago, folks, if you put that in your flower bed, it'll start out as a little bitty 4-inch pot, and it'll turn into like a little bush. And you can trim it back, and it'll come right back. The more you trim it, the more it blooms. Plumbago is one of God's wonder weeds. It just doesn't want to. It's kind of like when it seems like a good idea to put in the lyrope, and then the next year you just got a world of crabgrass everywhere.
You've lost me.
Yeah, but I haven't lost Matt Boucher, which is why I shared that with Matt Boucher. I was talking to Matt Boucher.
Yeah, I know. Jeff Coleman checking in.
Ag extension agent here in Victoria County.
Might be time to get him in now with all this rain.
Fantastic job.
Joel Gomez says he can start his own IV. Learn to do that in paramedic class.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Chris Conrad says flu vaccine, 60% of the time. It works every time.
Right. Chris Conrad, grandson of Robert Conrad of Baba Black Sheep fame and battery commercials.
Wasn't he Cannon too?
No, Cannon was
the other fat old white guy.
Was a fat guy. Conrad, what did Robert Conrad play?
William Conrad was Cannon, right?
William Conrad, good call. Drove around a Lincoln Mark III. Remember that? Yep. He was fat. TV star, legend.
Christina Wise says she won't take the COVID first generation immunization.
Mannix. But what if they tell you that you have to be a nurse? Can they do that to you? Can they tell you, well, you don't have to take it, but you can't work on the floor unless you've been vaccinated?
Yeah, they might be able to. With Bobcat Watley checking in. Good morning, Jim.
Miss Christina Wise, anti-authority, Austin, Texas, liberal hippie.
My beautiful wife, Cheryl. Good morning.
From South Carolina.
James Kurth, Jim Hartman.
Congratulations, Mr. Hartman. It's a great time to tell you that yesterday, young Ryan got even more great news. I was told that, and correct me if I'm misspeaking, but was told that young Ryan Hartman, 16-year-old, has been battling a type of leukemia. That's as medical as I get, and was deemed to be cancer-free.
Good.
Fantastic.
That's great news.
Relatively short road, but a very difficult, and it's just awe-inspiring to see the way this family pulled together.
That one's been wearing on me,
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you why. I mean, he's a young kid, great family, but he's also a twin. Being a twin, I can only imagine how his twin brother felt.
Yeah, the anxiety too, and I saw Jay Soule yesterday. Of course, Jay Soule has also beaten cancer. And he told me, he said, every time I go back for a scan, I'm concerned, but he goes, it's the rest of the time I feel great. And he goes, in my overall health, this was a blessing because I feel better than I've felt in years. I told him, I said, we shouldn't be surprised when God answers prayer. So pray for me, and then you do, and then the guy's cured, and we're not really surprised about it. But at the same time, it's very humbling because you start saying, well, shit, I mean, it had to just be the doctors because certainly I'm not worthy of God's favor. I told Jay yesterday, I said, Jay, you're the kind of guy that touches a lot of people. How does it make you feel when you look in the mirror and go, well, if God did do it, he must have me here for a reason.
Not Joe Biden touching people.
Right. No, Joe Biden. Yeah, right. Exactly.
We've got to make that clarification these days.
Absolutely.
Rena Scherer checking in. Trey Molina says when he's a guest, remind him to tell us about his Subway experience.
Awfully
this
assumptive
week.
of
Yes,
young
it
Trey
is.
Molina, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to get you in here.
Marty Stockbauer echoing the awesome news.
Marty Stockbauer's another one.
Christina Wise says if you refuse the
Beating
flu
cancer.
vaccine, you wear a mask the whole season. Exactly what we're doing for COVID.
Right.
So
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
what me and Ash are doing.
So saw a couple more Allen's Wrecker Service trucks on the road yesterday. So they've been busy. I haven't seen the wrecks, but people obviously need them.
578-6300. It doesn't have to just be a wreck. If you have car
that's
trouble,
true.
you can dial them. They'll come help you. Really, the beautiful thing is Allen's are experts at securing a scene. Show up, have the cones, have the flares, have the big, bright truck that lets people know, hey, something's going on here. Let's move away from this situation.
They do it so quickly now.
Yes.
It's amazing how fast Allen's will get a car off the side of the road or even off the middle of the road onto that flatbed and gone.
Absolutely. They do a great job.
Absolutely.
578-6300. We just talked about Jim Hartman, the VCS Company's Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman family businesses. Whether it's Big Jim, Miss Jennifer, JR, or Kelly,
they'll all take care of you.
Absolutely. Whether surround sound, surveillance, security systems, whatever you may need, if it communicates with you or the police, chances are the Hartmans have it under control.
They'll know it.
And you'll like it.
Exactly.
Reach out to them. SCT Building Systems, Clayton and Casey Help can help you with your next project. From a home to a barn dominium, he said, she said, get on down to Port O'Connor. They'll build you something down there on stilts. No issues. They can take care of it.
They're good.
564-8864. Reach out to Clayton and Casey.
Last day today to get Veracruz Restaurant.
Before next week.
Before next week. So last chance this week.
576-6015. Or guess what? You can go in at lunch.
I believe next week, unless something changes, restaurants will be back or up to 75% capacity.
Yeah.
And
you know what? We're not making 100. Who are we kidding, people?
Next Friday.
Are we trying not to overwhelm the health system with COVID patients? Oh.
I think I agree with. Well, let's finish the Veracruz ad, then we'll get into that. But get the Veracruz. You can stop by and eat in today. You can also take it to go. There are enchilada casseroles.
Curbside.
They've perfected that over this COVID.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to call it, because they've been. I mean, those things are almost walking out the door on their own 2 feet. They're moving in out so fast.
Yep.
But get on by. But
Minnie's there. They're working hard, folks. I'll tell you something. This is a family business. You know them. You know the Caballeros and Minnie. I'm going to tell you something. They're working hard. It's hard to prepare everything, box everything. It's easy to throw it on a plate, drag it out to you. Now you got to box it up. You don't just get it's not just a assemblage. It takes time to put it together the way they put it together. They do a great job.
Tom Price checking in. Good morning, Michael Guajardo, Amy Mundy, Katina Arterberry.
See, you got Guajardo down pretty good.
Yeah.
Gutierrez, not so much.
No, it's not hard rolling.
Gutierrez,
it's not that bad.
It's pretty close.
That's close, but not that bad.
Say it.
Gutierrez.
I
had to think about that one.
Yeah, I know you did. And you knew that I knew that you knew that I was going to put you on the spot.
Yep.
You did okay.
Thank you. But with restaurants, why wouldn't it be as simple? Okay, we're 50%. If you want to open up to 100% and with the social distancing, I mean, that's the oxymoron in this that people don't understand. You can't be 100% capacity and still adhere to the social distancing restrictions that they want you to restrict you, right? You can't.
Probably not.
You can't fill capacity if you're having to put 6 feet between people and limit your table spaces.
Is that the new norm now? 6 feet between tables?
Well,
I mean, is that where we're going to go?
I think you can now have 6 people at a table instead of 4, but that's it. You can't go bigger than that.
Right.
So.
James Kerr says nobody cares what the governor has to say anymore. Larry Leahy adds in Drew Brees caved to the PC police.
Well, because Trey Molina asked about he hadn't read much on the Drew Brees story and what transpired, so he's asking us. And you probably here's my 2-cent take on it. The cancel culture wins again because Drew Brees was probably begged and pleaded to get his perspective out there, and he gave it.
Kind of the face of the NFL right now, a little bit. I mean,
and so he gave his perspective based on his experiences growing up and what the flag and the anthem mean to him, and he was quickly shut down because his opinion just doesn't matter according to the cancel culture.
And instead of
that's where it goes.
I listened to him and I was proud of him when he made his statement. But then I also tried to be objective as I listened to Malcolm Jenkins, a defensive back for the Saints, who just as passionately and literally just as articulately said, Drew, here's where you missed the boat. And you know what? They were both right. And when both individuals are correct, you've got to open a dialogue together and find some common ground. I mean, literally almost hug it out. You made a statement yesterday right off the top of the bat that made me stop and think.
So I popped it up?
As you often do. You made me stop and think about what I was thinking because I'm trying to get my head around it. I'm self-aware enough to know that I come at it from the privileged, educated, middle-aged, white guy position. I get that. I get it that when I talk about, I feel your pain, man, about what you're going through with George Floyd, I'm lying to you. I'm patronizing you. I can't know what you feel, whoever you are. Even as another white individual, I don't know what.
But you're capable of feeling disgust for the actions that led to his death, and know enough that things need to change.
I can't be outraged enough for some people because I'm a white guy. I can't be outraged enough, and if I am,
well, and honestly, and there are some that say you shouldn't be outraged at all because you're a white guy.
Right. Yeah. What does it matter to you? You don't know what it's like to walk the streets in fear of being beat by the cops. Well, that's true. I don't. But what you said yesterday resonates with me now was that why didn't Malcolm Jenkins pick up the phone and call Drew Brees? Why did Malcolm Jenkins have to come back and further divide the situation by going public with his own statement? Is the goal to heal and find common ground, or is the goal to say, no, Drew Brees, white quarterback, here's where you're wrong. I'm another rich, happens to be black guy, defensive back, and I don't think you understand what, quote unquote, we are going through. Never mind the fact that any player that's in the NFL has been coddled at some point for being a great athlete, protected. There are true stories, great stories of human beings who have come up through the ranks off the streets. If it wasn't for football, I'd be in prison today. Most of them went to Oklahoma, but that's not the point. I agree with that logic. But these are all men of tremendous privilege. But they're the most outraged. So you start wondering how much of that is genuine outrage and how much of that is political posturing. I would like to think that Malcolm Jenkins could have picked up the phone and said, hey, Drew, let's heal this thing and let's let it start with me and you. Let me tell you my perspective. Instead, he called him out. And maybe rightfully so. This is a time for action. So he called Drew Brees out. That's fine. That's his privilege. And Drew Brees came back and said, it sickens me and breaks my heart at how much I may have upset some people. And good for Drew Brees, a man of unquestioned character. But it's just terrible that now all of a sudden he's this like pariah. It's like, oh, there's Drew, the guy, it's bad enough he had that mole on his cheek all those years. Now he's got like
bad enough that people question his accomplishments because he's played half his career indoors.
Right. It's bad enough that he's short. Knowing that he's white, the kid's a loser. Yeah. No, but for real, it is a shame.
But that's the problem with society today. We don't pick up a phone. We don't go knock on our neighbor's door. We don't talk out our issues. It's blast them on social media.
Bobby Leister says they're making the American flag mean nothing anymore. Bobby Leister, I'm telling you, when you tear down the symbols of your nation, you can tear down the foundation of your nation. There's no doubt. What we laugh at or rationalize today, we accept tomorrow. When people that
I'll disagree with Bobby Leister on that. The American flag is a representation of freedom, and that gives you the freedom to express your mind and say what you want and almost do what you want in this country. There are a lot of flags around this world that are symbols of oppression, and the American flag, I don't believe, is one of them.
James Kerr says they could have done a joint video together acknowledging each other's viewpoint and move forward without having to perpetuate divisiveness. And I agree with that.
So let's switch. Well, let's take our next break and then we'll switch gears. Chesnick Furniture Company, if you want to stop by and celebrate their 100th birthday and you get all the benefits. It's like going to a birthday party and you get all the gifts.
It's like a birthday protest special. You want to protest, you want to take a sofa outside and just light it on fire. Why pay full price for that sofa? Go to Chesnick Furniture today, buy it 50% off.
Then light it on fire.
Then light it on fire. Buy two and really protest. Get down to Chesnick Furniture Company and buy up a burnable sofa today. 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. They've been there 70 years.
Been in business for 100, and they're giving you 50% off all furniture.
Bobby Leon ran around those halls as a wee lad. Why? There's stains on the carpet from when he was eating cookies as a child.
Dropped his grape juice.
Right? Not really. It's been remodeled since then. Beautiful furniture, beautiful appliances, bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding, everything you need to make your house a home. Besides love and Chesnick make your house a home.
116 West Juan Lynn.
You just do better at Chesnick. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull, kind of monitoring what's going on. He's had a real influx of business from people who want to be able to take payments on their website. I don't give him credit for the Advocate and their endless pleas for cash and donations. I think they did that on their own. But he can help you. You want to pay for a service on the internet. You want to be able to charge people kind of via PayPal or whatever over the internet. He can help you create the button in the software.
Your COVID fear does not allow you to handle cash anymore.
Right. You don't want to touch money because we don't know where the dirty money's been. Give it to Wade and Carter.
We'll take it.
We'll give you a voucher back for half that amount.
The Atzenhofer dealerships, Atzenhofer.com. Atzenhofer's been around since 1926, folks.
Atzenhofer on Navarro, right across from Veracruz, where
they'll give you a gift card to go to Veracruz after you buy a car.
Buy a new used car and say, hey, Wade and Carter said I get a gift card. Bingo, you're across the street for free.
Cadillac, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Mazda. 4 great brands. If you want a brand new vehicle, they've got all sorts of great pre-owned. All you do is just drive by and take a look at the great selection of pre-owned vehicles.
I mean, you've got American-made cars that are made in Canada. You've got Japanese-made cars that are made in America.
You got American-made cars that are put together in Mexico.
It's all there.
It's all there.
The international dealership known as the Atzenhofer family dealership. Since 1926, folks, that speaks volumes right there, sneaking up on 100 years. Who now? We're done for a while?
Yeah,
we already gave Jay Soule and Compadres Inc. their shameless plug.
But I think Sky Sanchez had asked about Hillary Clinton losing her trial, and I guess she had tried to be blocked from testifying before the Senate committee, and they said, nope, you're going to have to testify. So,
well, folks, this is all lost on me. You're the only guy. By the way, I challenge any of you. Ash Wade is the only guy talking about Obamagate. You're not hearing this on the Main Street News.
You got to go digging for it.
These people are having hearings now. Nobody hears about it because we're worried about riots. We've been worried about COVID.
Remember when a bunch of white gunmen stormed the Michigan legislature?
Yeah.
Because they're allowed to legally carry guns in public property in Michigan.
Laws. Those people that weren't breaking any laws.
You know what? There was a group of black gunmen who did the exact same thing last week to protest the treatment of George Floyd, and it got no coverage at all.
Right, and there were no arrests. It was perfectly legal.
Perfectly legal, perfectly peaceful. They did the same thing as what was going on with COVID, but it got no media coverage,
right?
And no gunmen stormed the Capitol.
And nobody was hurt.
No. So if you don't believe there's a media narrative driving some of this stuff
All of
to
this
fuel
stuff.
the rage and the anger,
The American media is mad at white people. White people are the scourge of this country. White people have caused all the problems. Just look at Baltimore. Whitey did that.
been under Democrat control since 1939, but somehow it's the Republicans' fault.
Yeah.
There's your systemic racism.
I really did hear Glenn Beck say yesterday that he believes this country is close to civil war. And I have to tell you, and I don't think I'm just being optimistic, civil war does not favor the left. They're angry, they're mouthy, but they're weak. The left is disorganized, disjointed. It's an assemblage of special interest groups, whereas the extreme right, I believe, is a group of maybe loony, but patriots who believe in the Constitution. And the people that believe in the Constitution will win in the long run. We kind of see that happened in the Civil War.
Clayton Meyer, good morning to you. So Rod Rosenstein yesterday drops a few bombs before Senate, and it's getting absolutely no coverage. Why? Because, well, it would help President Trump. Because remember, the media made an entire living off of Russiagate. Russiagate.
JP Hall. Russiagate.
For what? Since 2017.
Russia.
Till about December of 2019, before they announced that they were going for impeachment, it was all Russia, right?
Yeah, because Trump was buddies with Vlad Putin.
Yeah,
that's how. Because Trump had Trump Hotel Moscow or something in plans.
So yesterday, during the hearing, committee member Senator Lindsey Graham asked Rod Rosenstein, the whole concept that the campaign was colluding with the Russians. There was no there in August of 2017. Do you agree or not? He said, I agree with the general statement. Basically saying that from August of 2017, they knew they had nothing and there was no collusion between Trump and the Russians, yet they perpetuated it and went with it for another year and a half. This is the former Deputy Attorney General, folks.
And nobody has yet told me, Ash, nobody has effectively explained to me any way that the Russians could actually influence our election. I don't understand. I mean, it would be as if you said that, well, Nicaragua is influencing the 2020 election. Well, who do I know? What credibility would somebody from Nicaragua have to influence our election? People, if you asked Americans, who is the group in the world that you would probably trust the least? Besides the Democratic Party, most people would say Russia. So there's really no feasible way for Russia to actually influence our election except providing a fake dossier, providing fake information that would have worked against Trump, not for him. Was her name really Stanislav?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe her implants were from the Ukraine. I don't know. The Russians did not influence the election. How would they do so? Somebody please tell me. 575-9509. How would they do it?
He said former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was not forthright with him.
Well, they're the FBI. They're never forthright.
No.
They're more like the Third Reich, you know? I don't know. I think the FBI had some bad apples in it. And I think the FBI, I always come back to one of the great lines in a really half so-so movie, JFK. Oliver Stone loosely took a bunch of conspiracy theories and threw them all together and made a wildly entertaining movie that was very, very loosely based on fact.
Very popular.
But at one point...
Disney does the same thing and gets praised. Oliver Stone does that and gets absolutely shafted and shunned from Hollywood.
You're right. But Donald Sutherland played the assemblage of sources that they called Deep Throat. And there was a Deep Throat. There was a guy, but Donald Sutherland plays this guy. And at one point, a character in the show naively asks, but who did kill Kennedy? Was it the mob? Was it the Cubans? Was it the Democrats? Who killed Kennedy?
LBJ.
And he said, once you get to this level, it's hard to tell them apart. And there are that the same banter, the stuff. Well, I'll do this for you if you do that for me. The pork. The CIA gives money and guns to the Sandinistas in exchange for this. And there's cocaine changing hands, and that doesn't count. We're not really drug dealing as a country because we're using that to give money to the Contras. All of that stuff happens at a level that the average person can't get their head around. So what's going on in Washington now is an outsider, a guy who didn't have 50 chits out to 900 different people. He comes in and they all universally agree, this guy's got to go, man. He can topple our apple cart. And Trump, if Trump could just get out of his own way, you're an idiot. That's fake news. You're stupid. That's why you have terrible ratings.
Well, the fake news one's probably true.
He's probably right, but nobody wants to really hear him say it. He can expose all these people, and they all know. They all know. So let me tell you something. The hysteria created, look at the people that create the hysteria, and you'll find the people with the most to lose. The Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the FBI director. All these people have a lot to lose because their activities that have been done under the shroud of darkness can come to the fore, and they're going to look bad. And Trump doesn't care. They don't have anything on him.
Morning, Tor Bales. Morning, Jenna West. Listen to this revelation that came out yesterday in this. In January of 2017, the FBI field office said, we recommend General Flynn be removed from the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
Right.
They recommended removing him from the investigation, yet continued to set him up.
Yep.
And Rosenstein said he wasn't aware of that recommendation.
I have no recollection of that.
No, he just said, I did not. Yeah, he was asked if he was aware of that recommendation, and he said he was not. And then when asked if it would have mattered, he said yes. And he also told the senators that he would not assign the renewal of the FISA warrants for Trump associate Carter Page if he had been aware of the exculpatory information withheld from the FISA court. So you ring up a guy for lying to the FBI when the FBI is lying to the court.
Yeah, to get the warrant.
To get the warrant. The whole thing is a house of cards that's just been pulled out from under him.
Absolutely. And you know what? He gets zero. This stuff right here makes Watergate look like a JV football game. I'm telling you.
Worse.
This
Pop Warner.
Watergate was absolutely nothing. Watergate was a blackhead. This is cystic acne. I'm telling you. And nobody cares because it doesn't suit their agenda. They've got to get Trump. You've got people lying. See, you take a false premise and then you make assumptions and you build on it because of that. You call day night and then you get funding for the lights that you don't really need. And then you have to build a power plant to handle the lights that you still don't need because it's really daytime, not nighttime. And you just keep building on it until somebody says, oh, by the way, way back there, we knew it was daytime. We knew it was daytime, but we had to keep getting funding. They ruined people's lives. High-ranking, honest. Some of them were holdovers from the Obama era that were decent people. Some of them were people that were working for Trump. They used warrants and investigations and basically labeled these people treasonous enemies of the state. They can do anything they want to them. Now, how are you going to put that toothpaste back in the tube? And they're not going to be compensated for it. What are you going to do? Sue the government? Good luck.
How do you get Michael Flynn back what he's lost? I mean, aside from the money and the bankruptcy, that could probably be repaid, and they're probably going to have to recompensate him for something. But how do you get back the time in federal prison?
Can't.
and the lost reputation.
You can't. You really think that Epstein guy killed himself, folks?
Heck no.
Is that Weinberg guy still alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently recovered from the COVID.
Yeah, he's fine.
Morning, Tammy Darlene.
Well,
Andy Schneider.
he was in such top physical condition.
Jacob. Dwayne Payne, good morning.
Hello, Dwayne Payne.
You know what they need in Washington, D.C.? They need a bunch of white trash service roll-offs just loaded up to the doorsteps of Washington, D.C. and load everybody in there, get them out of there, and start afresh. And I think white trash service
is that what they call cleaning the swamp, draining the swamp?
That would be part of it. It would be a good start.
What he said.
It would be a very good start.
And what gets me about that, by the way, 550-1826, call out to white trash services. Let's don't let that sponsorship get lost in our banner here. Reach out to BJ Nelson, Scott Nelson, the family that's out there, the roll-off queen. If you have a project, if you need weekly trash service in the county, 6-county area.
Yeah, you need residential, you need commercial, you need, you've got a plot of land with 3 or 4 family members on it, and maybe instead of each of you having a bin, you get a dumpster. You can do that as well.
I was out there the other day, and what they've done, they recently acquired another building, effectively more than doubling their current space, which was already bigger than what they came from. They started out with 3 trucks and a yellow notepad. So they've been blessed. They've been blessed, and they've worked hard. But let me tell you, they're in a position now. They have already ramped up to where they can handle more business, which I think they're going to make a serious play for some of the in-city business, which I think is fantastic. Good, local, family-owned business. Victoria has a chance to put their money where their mouth is and get rid of the big corporate.
And so do you, 550-1826. Give a call.
Tammy Darlene comes in and says, "Hi, Ash."
Well, I said hi first. You didn't say hi.
I don't know her. There you go. Uncle Mud's Barbecue, something Tammy Darlene can't have in California. Get by there and have brisket, ribs, sausage, turkey, chicken. They've got it all. All the great side dishes. I saw Jonathan the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Doing great. I saw Katina too. I love the fact that our sponsors work in their businesses. These are not just people sitting on a hill.
No.
I mean, it's crazy the things that I know you think about. We've talked about this. If you go in and order at Uncle Mud's, and while Jonathan's talking to you, making small talk, it's just like Edward Scissorhands with it. And everything is sliced perfectly and ready to go. Thank you, BJ Nelson. She said, "Hi, Brent. Thank you." But that's the deal. Uncle Mud's is simply the best barbecue in this area. Highly recommend it. Go by and check it out. Great Barn Design, same thing, 920-6803. Cheryl can make your next party, reunion, wedding, quinceañera, can make them all memorable. I mean, it's just what she does. And what her gift
without cutting you off at the bar so that you actually remember the evening because you haven't had too much to drink.
Right?
She won't do that to you.
Her gift is being able to listen to you and say, well, what if? What if we did this? What if we did that? The next thing you know, people like it. And they remember it. Call Great Barn Design, 920-6803. And then Went. I talked to Carl Went just the other day.
Generators. They're more than Generac, folks. They've got Kohler. They've got Briggs & Stratton. So all your favorite brands and names, and that's just a couple. They've got, I think, probably, half a dozen to choose from.
Oh, yeah. Cummins,
right?
Briggs & Stratton,
so
Kohler.
All your favorite brands. If you're brand loyal, they're there. They've got the Generac. But they can provide the generator you need to provide power to you when times
like now, storm season. Don't wait till we're in a Cat 3 to go ahead and reach out to them. Do it now. Reasonable, financing available. They also he told me they've got an app now that you can have on your phone where your generator will self-test and report to you
that everything's working.
All systems are go. It's peace of mind.
And if you have the Control 4 for VCS, you can probably get that working with that as well.
Absolutely. And it's all peace of mind until the storm comes. Once the storm's here, you're going to make sure you have the generator.
There's Judd Zeller checking in. There's your son, Kyle. Good morning to you.
Hey, Kyle. Good morning. Kyle's working hard down in the valley, down in Harlingen, working at a bank this summer.
We'll give you an update on tropical depression Cristobal. It's been downgraded currently, but they are expecting it to strengthen back to tropical storm status, and looks like current track shows it making a beeline towards the west side of New Orleans, and will probably reach there early Monday morning.
That's bad for them, and I'll tell you why. The area is so close to
because they're on the wrong side.
And New Orleans can just be.
Well, actually, they're thinking it's going to move pretty fast. That's the one good thing. The forecast shows us already up by the Great Lakes by Wednesday morning. So,
well, Oklahoma sucks, so it'll probably just suck it right on up to the north.
It doesn't look like it's going to impact this part of the Texas coast. It could impact the extreme upper east part of the Texas coast with some high winds and maybe some surf stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. But right now, tropical depression, not a tropical storm as we had billed it.
So Lisa Poole asked, what do y'all know about the protest tomorrow? There's a Facebook post calling it Antifa.
I thought it was Sunday. I thought they were going to go from the Patty Dodson down to and walk along Navarro on the sidewalks peaceably.
Hey, it's going to be peaceful.
I don't know that there's enough sidewalks for them to stay on the sidewalks.
No, but
that's another story.
It'll be peaceful in Victoria. If they got, they got a permit to protest and all that. I mean, I think, me personally, more power to them. If that's how people want to express themselves, that's great. To me, it's a little too late. I mean, we're in the middle of cleaning up the big cities where the real protest happened, and now we're going to have a little protest of our own. I'll tell you,
because the 3 or 4 that we already had apparently,
just didn't get enough attention. We didn't get enough attention for them because these 18 and 20-year-old kids are outraged about George Floyd. My deal is going to be, as long as it's peaceful, it's a tribute to Victoria. It's good that people can feel free to express themselves that way. If it gets out of control, I hope that our authorities are quite swift and squash it.
And don't be those idiots to drive by and stomp on on the gas pedal of your diesel-powered pickup and blow diesel exhaust in their face. That's just sophomoric and idiotic. But I will tell you something we got to be worried about, folks, and it is BLM and what they really stand for. They want systematic change in the way that the Democrats have been pushing for it and not affecting change for decades in some of these cities. Money's poured in. Money hasn't gotten where it needs to go.
Right.
Except into the pockets of those in control or those who are perceived to be heading up the agencies that profess to help those who need it the most, yet nothing's changed in 50, 60, 70 years in these cities. Nothing's changed. Despite pouring trillions of dollars into them to solve the problems that they say exist, the problems haven't gone away. Because the money's not getting where it needs to go. The people that actually need the help and the support and the services that they profess to complain or to provide,
right,
and complain that they're not getting. So BLM yesterday in Fort Worth goes and says, because now there's a big movement to defund police forces around the country, and you get a bunch of Hollywood celebs jumping on this bandwagon who all live behind their gated communities and will be the first to cry that the police couldn't get there fast enough when they're defunded. And LA's mayor said he's going to knock down the funding to the LA Police Department because he's a spineless wimp.
You saw what happened to the NBA guy, the Palmer guy. He was like, burn it down, man. And then they got near his neighborhood. He was calling the cops. Hey, we live in a peaceful neighborhood over here. Don't burn my house down.
So BLM yesterday went to Fort Worth City Council, said, hey, knock back your funding to the Fort Worth Police Department. Oh, and here's who you need to put in to head up these initiatives with the money you're not going to fund your police department with. Guess who they all were? BLM appointees. It's not about making change. It's about making change to benefit certain individuals, folks. And they're not shy about that. Their website says we want to defund police departments.
My deal is, I said something yesterday in just a quest to be supportive, to come off as caring, and made the comment, well, police or white people do just as much of this as black people, and police shoot white people at the same rate they shoot black people. The reality is, African Americans, black people, there are no African Americans, they're just Americans who happen to be black, just like I'm an American who happens to be, light skinned. Black America is what, 6% of the country?
More than that, I think 17 or 18, maybe 20.
Maybe 20%. I don't know. Is 1 out of 5? Boy, I tell you what, with all the southern border entrants and with all the people that are here, I don't know. It just seems like, in the same breath that it blows my mind that someone could be just absolutely disrespected simply for the color of their skin, it also blows my mind that we get so extreme over, let's say, 20% of the population. So extreme. Well, we've got to defund police departments and then put these people in charge. That makes sense to me.
Because it's not about change. It's about lining their own pockets. There's the hypocrisy, and I'm going to call it out with BLM because they claim it on their websites. It's not about affecting change. They want a piece of the government money because they've seen the Democrat leaders in the cities that have run these Democrat-controlled cities for decades do that same thing.
Yeah. My sister-in-law, Candace Smith, checked in this morning. Somebody just put up there that there was a statue of the Texas Rangers taken down at Love Field. I hate to see that. You pointed out something good to me this morning. The city of Richmond, Virginia, arguably the home of Robert E. Lee, decided, I don't know if they voted or not, they're taking down their statue of Robert E. Lee off of what they call Monument Boulevard. It's going to be put into storage while the citizenry decides where to put it.
Probably as much to do with a fiscal decision as anything else, because it's cleaning it up is starting to cost them a lot of money every day it's defaced.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like, Robert E. Lee, to any real student of history, was the guy who truly did more with less. I mean, he and Grant both went to West Point. They were both great Americans. Lee went on to lead the South in the Civil War, but when it was over, assimilated right back into the Union. I think his goal was not to destroy the Union so much as to protect states' rights. As misguided as he obviously was, blah, 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 this has been shown to have side effects. The reality is, you pointed out, hey, why put up a statue? It's all, demagoguery anyway, so who cares? And I guess, okay, I can go with that. In this day and age, who cares? And Lisa Poole does point out correctly, Robert E. Lee was against slavery, but not to the extent that he was willing to give up on a state's right to do what a state wants to do. The United States was not like it is now. Dwayne Stovall pointed out, our states now are more like counties. We live in counties, and we all look at
we're not the Federalists that we envisioned back then.
The state of the state of New York was different than the state of Pennsylvania. It was just different.
I think the only statues that need to be up: Hank Aaron, Muhammad Ali, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky,
Michael Jordan.
That's all we need. Michael Jordan. That's all we need.
People you can say with one word: Ali, great one, or MJ.
Hank, Aaron, not Williams.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
I agree with BJ Nelson, though. If you deface monuments, you should be fine. There's a fine line.
It's state property.
There's crimes,
It's still vandalism.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So before we go, how about this hydroxychloroquine? Big study in Lancet that basically halted all the studies that were going on.
Right.
Or a big claim by researchers that
it
wasn't working, that it was killing people. We had, supposedly they looked at 80 some odd thousand cases. Kind of left out the fact that was pointed out in Science Magazine's expose of this when they actually dug into it a little bit more. oh, the dosing in some of these places was ridiculous.
Right.
The fact that these people were very close to death before they decided to give them hydrochloroquine played a factor in
It was
this.
a little late.
Kind of was what they were saying. But this company turns out to be a company that nobody really knew of, yet somehow they gained access to all this data and may have even faked it, claiming that they had thousands of health records from Africa. And then when people started looking at it going, hey, wait a second, some of those countries in Africa don't even have electronic health records. So how are you getting their data?
Yeah.
So now Lancet it just starts to make you wonder who was behind the motivation of it. And why was the Science Society so quick to back this study without doing any of the due diligence that it claimed was not being done with the hydrochloroquine studies? But they were rushed. They rushed to support a study and to publish it in Lancet. And Lancet's supposed to be one of those journals that can be trusted.
Yeah.
And here they are 3 weeks later.
Backing that up.
Backing out of it.
Yeah, walking it back. Interesting.
So we'll never know if hydroxychloroquine could be. There's certainly a lot of anecdotal evidence, but I don't know that you're going to get anybody to ramp these studies back up because the cancel culture wins again, folks, to the detriment of what might have possibly been beneficial to people who actually need some help.
Well, like Sky Sanchez just said, pharma pockets are deeper than the naked eye can see. There are people, and you don't have to look far to see people who benefit from the creation of a vaccine. They don't want. If you found out tomorrow that aspirin cured cancer, they'd be like, they wouldn't say, come get it, it's free. They go, oh, we need to do some studies, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. And they take years and years and years while they look for, well, we have a new aspirin tube.
They'd find a way to get aspirin off the market.
Absolutely. Be aware. Be very aware. Question your leadership. Question what's going on. We appreciate you guys giving us this forum. I appreciate the input we get from our great listeners and the folks on Facebook. Be a part of the solution this weekend. Try to be tolerant. Look around. Realize that people are exercising their rights. Let them do it.
Educate yourselves more than anything.
Yeah. Be woke. Be woke.
Hate that term,
my brother. Well, I tell you what, we appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe on the streets. The weather should be perfect. Get outside. Try to make Victoria a prettier place. Drive by the corner of Airline and Ben Jordan.
Thank the city for
getting out there and doing their job. Wonder how that happened.
It's on the schedule.
It was on the schedule. I'm sure it was.
They can wait for the rain to go away.
It needs to be on the schedule more than once a quarter. Clean that trash hole up.
Peter McNally checking in. Good morning to you. Just in time for us to say goodbye. We'll let Ralph come in. And
bye, Funky.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend. Bye,
guys. Folks.
Hello, Ralph. Where's the brother man? Oh, he's over at Kicks. How do you feel when he cheats on you like that? You like it?
What's over there?
You like
that water plant? You know that water pump? Well, so yesterday on the air, I just said, this place looks terrible and the city ought to do something about it. And I went by there and videoed it. 3-minute video showing the grass and the weeds. They had airline all combed off all the way back from units to the fire station. Everything was one way, the trees on the trees, cut the grass. When I went by, there were 13 guys out there working. And I wouldn't be surprised if that might have been. It might have been on the schedule. Well, because you brought up stuff. They just this year a week ago. Yeah. Well, we did try. He said, "Can I be with you?" I said, "Yeah." The next day, they were all going to be picked up. They listen. Yeah. Let's see this. somebody's like, hey, we gotta do it. How are you? Right? All those sucklings at the bottom of the little oak trees are like getting into the ground. And all those and I find your life, you know, like, oh, shit, here you go. And then they started moving all the way back, going down their line, back to Nimitz where the fire station is. They started bringing into one lane, and they had a truck that This is the deal. When we look at it, they're all one, two, they're all leaning on the shoulders. And when I switch the deal and take a picture, immediately goes. And I was like, you don't work for me, it's okay. The time was out. There was like 4:30. Yeah, I did it. OSHA. I think there's gonna be a Black Lives Matter deal. Where is it? Maybe on Plaza from Sunday. That's problem.
But they couldn't have you that somebody, they've been told by reliable source that people had a permit for Sunday.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Oh, have a good day. Yeah, I hope nobody comes to get in trouble, because all that stuff's dialing down, inventory would make the national news. And next to Victoria. Well, you can fix these devices today. Yeah. Yeah, but oh, but you can go to the hot one. He's like a couple times in college. Not tired. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. That's a. Yeah, I got yeah. So Kyle sent me this. I mean, this girl is I don't know what this picture is. This girl's body. Look at that rat. Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, she's really cool. Yeah. I think he is. I said, oh, Judy, I'm gonna be a grandpa. She goes, no, you're not.
The president never ordered or could order a shutdown the country constitutionally for these purposes.